Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us today for the Johns Manville Mechanical Product webinar. My name is Kim Melton, and I'm going to be the moderator for today's presentation. Before we dive into introductions, I do want to go over a few logistics. First and foremost, if you have any questions or concerns, you can submit those at any point via the Q&A feature, and we'll address these questions live at the end of the presentation. So if you don't see the Q&A feature, you should be able to open up the Q&A feature by clicking on the icon at the bottom of your screen with the ellipsis in it. And that's going to open up a dialog box that has Q&A in it, and then that will open a dialog box on the right side of your screen that you can use to submit any questions you may have. So a quick note before we get started, and that is this webinar is for educational purposes only, and it shouldn't be used as a substitute for professional engineering design, consultation, or documentation that might be required by building codes, contracts, or even applicable laws. So if you have any questions after the webinar, you can refer to our specific application guidelines and instructions that are located in the product sections of our website. Additionally, we will follow the webinar today with a survey. This is your opportunity to provide us with feedback on how we did and ask us any additional questions you may have about the topic of the webinar, or you could even suggest new topics for webinars you'd like to hear in the future. We're continuously striving to involve and improve these webinars, so if you have any comments or questions as to how we can better accomplish this, or even if you feel like maybe we've missed the mark today, we'd encourage you to fill out this survey. We use your feedback to improve our webinars and provide the information that has the most value to you in future webinars. Now, this survey is also part of how we deliver the JM experience to you, and the JM experience is based on 4 pillars of the JM culture, and that's people, passion, perform, and protect. And we believe it's critical to make sure that we hear and understand and respond to your needs in order to deliver the best interaction to you. So we offer webinars like this one to help educate the market and offer a tool and a resource for you and your business. But that's not just a one-way street, so your feedback is a key component helping us evolve to make sure that we better meet your needs. Also, we're frequently asked whether or not we send out these presentations upon their conclusion, and we don't actually send out the presentation itself, but we do post a recording of it online for you to watch at your leisure or share with your colleagues. This ensures that you have the presentation within its full context, and we'll send an email to you when it's live on our website. So with that, we're going to get to some introductions. I'm going to hand it over to Meredith Westerdale to introduce herself.
Good afternoon. My name is Meredith Westerdale. I'm the Mechanical Insulation Product Manager at JM. The products that I cover include fiberglass pipe insulation, fiberglass boards, X-Pec foam boards, and PVC. We'll be reviewing all of those today. I've been at JM for 7 years, in the insulation division for the past 3 years, and in the building products industry my entire time at JM.
Hello, I'm Paul Diamond, Market Development Manager for Johns Manville. I've spent over 15 years working for construction material manufacturing companies, including the last 2.5 with Johns Manville. My primary focus is to serve engineers, distributors, and contractors. I'm based outside Sacramento and cover the Northern California and Northern Nevada territory. Here's an overview of today's webinar. We'll start by talking about the key components to insulation systems. Next, we'll discuss some of the new innovative products that Johns Manville has recently launched. Then we'll present the balance of the Johns Manville mechanical product portfolio. After we complete the mechanical product portfolio overview, we'll examine the use of fiberglass insulation in chilled water systems. Finally, we'll wrap up with the additional resources that Johns Manville offers to help make your jobs easier. Key components to insulation systems. Health and safety is a key component to anything we do, so I'd like to take a minute to touch on fiberglass health and safety. Fiberglass is one of the most studied and researched products on the market today. Fiberglass studies have typically focused on 3 areas: indoor exposure to fiberglass fibers, human epidemiology, and long-term animal inhalation studies. The research has concluded that fiberglass is not a carcinogen and presents no cancer hazard. Fiberglass is biosoluble, which means the lungs can break down the fibers and eliminate them from the body. As long as recommended practices are followed, fiberglass is safe to make, use, and install. It's recommended that long pants, long sleeve shirts, gloves, and eye protection are used to avoid temporary mechanical irritation. Reasons to insulate. Why do we insulate? The main reason we insulate is energy conservation. insulation limits heat loss or gain within a system. Systems will perform more efficiently if they can maintain the desired outputs with less demand. This helps provide process control. Another reason to insulate is to control condensation. If not controlled, condensation can allow mold and bacteria growth. Condensation can damage building materials such as ceiling tiles. Condensation can also cause potential safety issues such as slips or falls from pooling water. Environmental pollution reduction. Since insulation limits heat loss or gain in a system, it helps to reduce the demand for natural gas, propane, or other fuels that create greenhouse gases. Freeze protection. Insulation protects against heat loss, which reduces the potential for pipes to freeze. Fire protection. Fiberglass is not a fuel source for fire, and it helps keep combustible material below ignition temperatures longer than if it were not insulated. Although the reasons listed up to this point deal with thermal issues, insulating can also provide acoustical benefits. Insulation helps to reduce unwanted noise. And finally, mechanical insulation is a key component for personnel protection. Adequate insulation can help bring the temperature of hot surfaces that could severely burn you down to the OSHA guideline maximum surface temperature of 140 degrees Fahrenheit or less. Key design details for mechanical systems. What are these key design details? The first consideration is the ambient temperature and relative humidity conditions surrounding the system. For example, the insulation requirements are different for a system running 350 degree steam in a 75 degree ambient temperature space with low humidity when compared to a system running domestic cold water in a 90 degree ambient temperature and high humidity type environment. Surface temperature requirements also need to be considered. As previously mentioned, the OSHA guideline maximum surface temperature of 140 degrees Fahrenheit or less must be taken into account. Fluid delivery requirements. Fluid delivery requirements will determine how much heat loss or gain is acceptable over the length of the system and ultimately the performance desired for the equipment. And sometimes overlooked spacing. To allow the proper insulation thickness, spacing required between pipes, equipment, and other structural surfaces needs to be considered. JM has recently added some new products to its mechanical portfolio. Let's take a look. 800 Series Spin Glass Ultra. Johns Manville has recently launched 800 Series Spin Glass Ultra. It's our standard 800 Series Spin Glass available with a paper-free polytop facing. Some of the benefits include moisture and wrinkle resistance and added cleanability. 800 Series Spin Glass Ultra's facing is made from metallized polyester and, as I mentioned, is paper-free. The facing has a vapor barrier of 0.02 perms and visually matches the jacket on JM's Microlock Ultra pipe insulation. Now your projects can have a consistent and clean look. 800 Series Spin Glass Ultra also has the great thermal and acoustical control you've come to expect from the 800 Series Spin Glass product line. Microlite Black PSK Duct Wrap. Johns Manville now produces the most versatile line of formaldehyde-free duct wrap insulation available. We've welcomed Microlite Black PSK Duct Wrap to our family of duct wrap options. No more painting duct wrap, which voids the UL warranty. When ceilings are exposed, you now have the freedom to opt for aesthetics with white or black PSK, which stands for Poly Scrim Craft, or you can target strictly function with silver FSK or foil scrim craft facing. Matching tape is available for a seamless look. Please go to the Johns Manville website or contact your local JM rep for additional information. JM's R12 Portfolio. The 2015 version of the IECC is currently being adopted at state levels. It requires ductwork in exterior and unconditioned spaces in climate zones 5 and above to be insulated with R12 insulation. Historically, contractors have had to install multiple layers of insulation to attain R12 performance. Until now. Introducing Johns Manville's R12 Portfolio. JM has R12 solutions for external and internal duct insulation. For external duct insulation, JM's 3-inch 800 series spin glass, JM's 4.4-inch microlite duct wrap, and JM's 2-inch Expect ISO Foam APF board all carry an R value of 12 or greater. For internal duct insulation, Johns Manville's Line Acoustic RC duct liner and Line Acoustic R300 board are available in a 3-inch thickness. JM's Spiral SG for double wall applications is available in type 125 or type 150. These products achieve an R12 or better performance for lined ducts. And now Meredith will continue with our mechanical product portfolio overview.
Thanks, Paul. So we'll start diving into the product portfolio with pipe insulation. JM has 3 primary fiberglass pipe offerings. 2 of these offerings come with a factory-installed vapor retarder jacket. Microlock HP is offered with an ASJ, or an all-service jacket, which is composed of an outer layer of bleached craft paper, a reinforcing middle layer of fiberglass scrim, and an inner layer of aluminum foil. Microlock HP Ultra is offered with a polypropylene-coated ASJ jacket that includes all of the same layers as ASJ, but with a polypropylene coating on the exterior that supports better moisture resistance and cleanability. Microlock HP Plain is pretty intuitive in that there is no jacket. It is intended to be installed with another type of jacket, such as aluminum or metal jacketing. The benefits of using JM's Microlock fiberglass pipe insulation range from temperature control on hot and cold systems, condensation control on chilled water systems that would sweat if not properly insulated, as well as acoustical control on pipes that may have a tendency to rattle. And as we've already discussed, insulation reduces the energy demand on systems, therefore contributing to energy efficiency. JM's Microlock pipe insulation is offered in a variety of thicknesses, from 1/2 inch to 5 inch, in order to meet an array of applications and requirements. This is an excellent slide for comparing the differences across JM's fiberglass pipe offerings. Again, there's Microlock HP, Microlock HP Ultra, and Microlock HP Plain, and the primary difference between the 3 is the jacket or the lack thereof. All 3 offerings are manufactured on an inline process in our plant in Defiance, Ohio. It's also worth mentioning that JM is unique in that we manufacture our own ASJ jacket, ensuring we have total control over the production process. With proper installation procedures, all 3 offerings can be used on chilled water. Of course, the plain offering would require a vapor retarder jacket to be installed with it. At the same thickness, all 3 products offer the same thermal performance. And due to the factory installed jacket on Microlock HP and HP Ultra, these 2 offerings meet Green Guard Gold certification. All 3 offerings are produced with a substantial component of recycled content, and all 3 are rated for applications up to 850 degrees. Typically, Microlock HP and HP Ultra are used in commercial applications. Again, HP Ultra is differentiated by its transient moisture resistance. Microlock HP Plain is most commonly used in light industrial applications where a jacket other than ASJ would be required. Now that we're versed in the differences of our Microlock offerings, let's spend a little time discussing why JM's fiberglass pipe insulation supports faster, easier, and more precise installations. One benefit and unique feature to JM fiberglass pipe insulation is the scrim lines follow the circumference of the pipe, allowing for more exact cuts. The scrim lines also match the scrim pattern on butt strips, which is a tape used to join 2 pieces of pipe insulation sections together. This provides a more seamless and aesthetically pleasing match at the joints. JM provides butt strips with every carton of pipe insulation. Microlock HP and HP Ultra also come with a self-sealing lap, or SSL adhesive, already installed on the jacket to make the sections easy to seal. Because of our mandrel wound process, Microlock HP pipe insulation is easier to fillet, so contractors can be confident they can fabricate JM pipe insulation quickly and easily. Each piece of our pipe insulation also features a size clearly printed on the end of the jacket. It also includes the corresponding Zeston PVC fitting size. So you never have to guess what PVC fitting to use or what size pipe section you have when it's been separated from the box on the job site. Thanks to these many benefits, Microlock HP pipe installation is truly a superior option for installers. We do want to note that JM's Microlock HP pipe installation does meet the code requirements for use over combustible pipe and plenums, and it can be a lower cost, easier to install, and effective option versus plenum wrap. However, we also want to be clear in stating that Microlock HP is not incombustible, and therefore should not be used when the code specifically calls for an incombustible material. We will review other fiberglass products JM manufacturers that are rated as incombustible in the marine products section later on. Now we'll go over some frequently asked questions related to Microlock pipe insulation. First, what's the maximum size and thickness available? Our wall thicknesses range from 1/2 inch all the way to 5 inch and are offered in 1/2 inch increments. The pipe diameter sizes range from 1/2 inch to 24 inch and iron pipe sizes. We also offer sizing for copper piping, ranging from 5/8 to 6 1/8 inch. We'll review another one of our offerings, Microflex, which can be used on even larger size pipes and tanks in a few slides. Second question, can I paint Microlock? We do not recommend that our installation is painted as it voids the 2550 flame smoke rating as well as the manufacturer's warranty. We test our products and know that they meet 2550 requirements. So when anything is added, like paint, which could function as a fuel source, we can't guarantee that our product with the paint will continue to meet the rating. Installing our color PVC over our pipe installation would be a great alternative to achieve the desired color match while maintaining the 2550 rating and manufacturer's warranty. And finally, can I use Microlock on below ambient systems? Yes, as long as the operating temperature is above 0 degrees and proper installation practices are followed to ensure a totally sealed system, Microlock HP fiberglass pipe installation can be used in below ambient systems like chilled water. For applications below 0 degrees, there are other insulation materials besides fiberglass that would be better suited. Now we'll change gears and review our various fiberglass board installations. There's a lot to keep track of here, so we'll start with a quick overview. JM's primary fiberglass board offerings include 800 series spin glass, fabrication board, precipitator board, and 1000 series spin glass. We also have offerings specific to marine applications that we'll review in a few slides. The benefits of fiberglass board installation should look familiar. They are essentially the same as what we just reviewed in the Microlock HP section. That makes sense, as oftentimes fiberglass boards are installed on different parts of the same system that pipe insulation is installed on. And just like our fiberglass pipe insulation, our fiberglass boards are offered in a variety of thicknesses to support an array of applications and requirements. Let's take a closer look at the differences in these offerings. You can see that we offer a range of temperature ratings, from the 450 degree rated 800 series to the 850 degree rated 1000 series precip and fab boards. Fabrication board actually features two different temperature ratings, 650 or 850, in order to meet different requirements. Our fiberglass boards are also offered in a variety of densities and thicknesses. 800 series has the most permutations, with densities ranging from 1.5 pound to 6 pound and thicknesses from 1 inch to 4 inch. 1000 series, while having the same temperature rating as precip, is more dense at 3 pounds versus 2.4 pounds. At a lesser density, precipitator board is more flexible and 1000 series more rigid. Keep in mind that both density and thickness influence R value, or thermal performance. But it's important to bear in mind that varying thickness is more impactful to thermal performance than density. Said another way, a 2-inch thick board will have a more significant variance in R value to a 1-inch board than a 6-pound board would have to a 3-pound board. All of the fiberglass boards you see here are SCS certified for 26% recycled content. Additionally, you'll notice that only the 800 series boards are offered with facings, and there's several options. First, there's our latest offering featuring the Ultra facing that Paul introduced earlier. Again, this is a paper-free, polypropylene-coated metallized polyester facing that supports better moisture resistance and cleanability. It also matches our Microlock HP Ultra, our polypropylene jacketed pipe offering. Next, and most frequently used, is FSK, or foil scrim craft, which features the aluminum foil as the outer layer of the jacket. And of course, just like pipe, there's ASJ and plain available on 800 series. As we look across all these different characteristics, you get a sense of the different applications that they are suited for. 800 series, for instance, is intended to be used on mechanical equipment and on the outside of ducts. With a higher temperature rating, 1000 series is used in more industrial applications. Precipitator board, as the name would suggest, is used on precipitators and baghouses. And fabrication board, also intuitively named, is intended to be fabricated for use on pipes and tanks. For installation of fiberglass board products, methods will depend on both the material and the application. Installing 800 series on the exterior of a duct will be different than installing fabrication board around a tank. Generally, for installation on mechanical equipment and exterior ducts, the fiberglass boards will be pinned with metal fasteners. And if a faced 800 series product is being used, the seams and pins should be finished with a matching tape to ensure a continuous vapor barrier and a clean installation look. Before Paul takes us through our next product offering, let's take a look at some frequently asked questions for fiberglass board. First, can fiberglass board be painted? Again, the answer here is the same as we discussed in the pipe insulation section. We would not recommend painting our insulation as it would void the 2550 flame smoke rating and our manufacturer's warranty. Second, why use a 6-pound board as opposed to a 3-pound board? As noted earlier, while density does contribute to thermal performance, thickness is more impactful. Therefore, denser boards are used more often because of the increased acoustical benefit. And finally, can board insulation be used as acoustical panels? Absolutely. Fiberglass has excellent acoustical properties and would be a great choice for an application requiring sound absorption. And now I'll turn it back over to Paul to tell us about our Pali ISO foam boards.
Thank you, Meredith. Let's take a closer look at Johns Manville's Pali ISO Foamboard. Johns Manville's Pali ISO Foamboard is called Expect Isofoam APF board. It's a rigid Pali ISO closed cell insulation. Our product is manufactured with a bilaminate facing, meaning there are 2 layers. The facing has a base layer of craft paper covered with a foil top layer. There's no printing on the foil layer to maximize the aesthetics of the material. As with all insulation, Expect is good for temperature control and energy efficiency. Since the product is closed cell, it inhibits water intrusion into the insulation. The fact that Expect is a lightweight product makes it easy to handle and install. Expect also has the added benefit of its high compressive strength, which gives it great durability. And finally, contractors like the precision they can achieve when cutting Expect due to its great consistency. Expect comes in thicknesses from 1 to 4 inches in 1/2 inch increments. Expect's R values range from R6 to R26, and the surface temperature range is from -100 Fahrenheit to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. The surface burning characteristics of Expect, as defined by ASTM E84, include a flame spread of less than or equal to 25 and a smoke development of less than or equal to 450. Expect has a compressive strength of greater or equal to 16 psi and is used in a variety of applications. Applications for Expect. Duct insulation products that get used inside the building envelope typically require a 2550 rating as defined by ASTM E84. Expect foam does not meet that rating, so it's most often used on rooftop ducts or for other applications. Expect can, however, be used for the building envelope or for indoor coolers and freezers where a 25450 fire hazard classification rating is accepted. There are also OEM applications that utilize Expect, including in appliances or HVAC equipment, refrigerated transportation, storage vessels, or in rail cars. So frequently asked questions regarding Expect. Can it be brought inside the building envelope? Expect can be used for the building envelope or for indoor coolers or freezers where the 25450 fire hazard classification rating is accepted, as we said earlier. The authority having jurisdiction makes the final decision on these matters. Question number 2, does Expect require a weather barrier jacket over it when installed on rooftop ductwork? The answer to this question is yes. Expect does require jacketing when installed for a rooftop duct type application. There are a variety of jacketing options to choose from, including metal jacketing, VentureClad, and AlumiGuard. Let's move on to Johns Manville's fiberglass blanket and wrap offerings. Johns Manville's blanket and wrap offering includes Microlite duct wrap that's used for wrapping HVAC ducts, Microflex pipe and tank wrap, which is a denser product used for large diameter pipe or tanks, and HTB26 spin glass that is a high temperature blanket used for industrial and marine applications. You can see from this slide that these products can be used for tanks and vessels, as well as for blankets or pads for steam lines, or for industrial applications. Like other insulation products, fiberglass blankets and wrap help with the temperature control, energy efficiency, and provide acoustical benefits. These products also help provide condensation control and are available in a variety of thicknesses. Microlite duct wrap and HTB26 spin glass are formaldehyde-free products. Here we have a comparison slide for fiberglass blanket and wrap. Microlite duct wrap, Microflex, and HTB26 spin glass have different surface temperature capabilities. Microlite has a surface temperature capability of up to 250 degrees Fahrenheit. Microflex is rated for up to 850 degrees Fahrenheit, and JM's HTB26 spin glass a service temperature of up to 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Each of these products can be supplied in different densities, thicknesses, and K-values. As a steward of the environment, JM maximizes recycled content wherever possible. As you can see, each of these products has approximately a 25% recycled content. We discussed Microlite's 3 facing options, including FSK and white and black PSK earlier. Microflex has FSK and ASJ facing options, and the HTB26 spin glass is an unfaced material. Ductwork, large diameter pipes, tanks and vessels, and high temperature blankets and pads are the applications for these products. Some frequently asked questions about fiberglass blanket and wrap. Question number 1, what is the difference between installed R value and out of package R value? Duct wrap is typically intended to be applied to a rectangular or square-shaped duct. Duct wrap is pulled snugly around the duct during installation to avoid sagging and to give the wrap a relatively tight fit around the duct. During the install, the wrap experiences some compression at the corners of the duct. When defining the installed R value, this compression is taken into account. The installed R value assumes a 25% compression that can occur at the corners of the duct. Therefore, prior to compression, the out-of-package R value will be greater than the installed or compressed R value. The reason we list out-of-package R value is for cases where the product is used for purposes other than wrapping a rectangular or square duct. Question number 2, what size pipes are good candidates for Microflex applications? The answer is Johns Manville manufactures Microlock fiberglass pipe insulation up to 24 inches in diameter. However, if pipe size is 20 inch in diameter and larger, those are good candidates for using Microflex. This is especially true when handling and storage of materials is limited, or the pipe requiring the insulation is in an extremely tight area. Using rolls of Microflex can be advantageous in these circumstances when compared to using full lengths of pipe insulation. Now Meredith will continue our overview of the Johns Manville mechanical portfolio by discussing our marine products.
Thanks, Paul. So here are two additional fiberglass products that are specific to marine applications: incombustible whole board and incombustible microlight. And we've got a repeat product here, Microlock HP Plain, which can also be used in marine applications. Our marine installations are intended for application on commercial and military vessels, as well as drilling rig platforms. They offer the same benefits we've covered, temperature control and acoustical control. However, incombustible whole board and incombustible microlight are also rated as incombustible, which can be a critical feature in marine applications. Here's a quick look at the differences between incombustible whole board and incombustible microlight. The primary physical difference is one is a board product and one is a blanket product. That means different densities and thermal performance. Incombustible whole board, just like our other fiberglass board products, is SCS certified for 26% recycled content. Both products are Coast Guard or USCG certified for incombustibility requirements. And again, both are intended for use on drilling rig platforms as well as merchant and military ships. Now we'll move on to the FAQs. First question, do marine installations require Coast Guard certifications? Yes, they do, and you can find the designations on our data sheets. Second question, are the binders different than standard fiberglass products? Yes, the binder used for incombustible whole board and incombustible microlight is different in order to achieve the incombustibility property. And here we are at the final product offering we'll review today, PVC. JM's Zeston PVC offerings include a wide range of fittings offered in two different thicknesses, 2000 series and 300 series. We also offer a range of cut and curl jacketing and bulk rolls. It's worth noting that JM is the only fiberglass pipe manufacturer that also manufactures its own PVC, allowing us to offer products for a complete system. PVC offers a variety of benefits. A primary one is abuse resistance. PVC contributes to extending the life of insulation systems, as its rigidity protects the underlying insulation from wear and tear. Additionally, as we offer PVC in 13 colors plus white, it's a great way to differentiate systems such as hot and cold. Our white PVC features UV resistance. So for outdoor application, we would recommend using our 300 series white PVC products. Now we'll go through a quick rundown of the differences in our PVC offerings. As I had mentioned, we have two different thicknesses. 2000 series products are 20 mil, 300 series products are 30 mil. 300 series is better suited for high abuse environments, such as washdown applications that need to meet USDA requirements. All of our PVC offerings are rated for applications from 0 to 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Our cut and curl jacketing is offered in either 4-foot or 3-foot sections. And we won't do this, but we could easily spend the entire webinar reviewing all of our different fitting types. From short radius and long radius 90-degree elbows to mechanical groove type fittings, end caps, and couplings, we have a 70-plus page catalog of all of our different PVC offerings available on our website. It's a great resource. Not only do we offer the PVC products themselves, but we also offer a wide range of accessories to support installation. From tape, tacks, adhesive, and thinner, we offer all the products needed to fully install a complete PVC system. That also includes the fiberglass inserts installed under the fittings. We manufacture our own fiberglass inserts at our Winder, Georgia location. Our last FAQ here before we take a look at insulating chilled water systems. First, how do I determine the right size for my application? There's a few options here. If you're using our Zeston PVC fittings alongside our Microlock HP pipe insulation, you'll find the correct PVC size printed on the ends of the pipe sections. Additionally, all of our Microlock HP insulation cartons feature PVC sizing charts to help select the correct size. These sizing charts can also be accessed through our website or our JM Smart Finder app, which is a great tool that also features our data sheets and product selector guides. Second question, can Zest-On PVC products be used outdoors? Yes, we would recommend that you only use our white 300 series PVC outside, as the white provides UV resistance and the thicker gauge is better suited for outdoor application. And finally, how many color offerings do we provide? It's 13 plus white, so 14 in total. They include blue, light blue, green, pea green, orange, red, yellow, brown, tan, gray, black, purple, and pink. And now we'll do a quick overview of insulating chilled water systems. So there are special considerations that need to be taken when insulating chilled water systems. The primary consideration is the system is designed and installed to prevent condensation. The risk of allowing condensation include corrosion on the pipe, the occurrence of mold and fungi growth due to the presence of moisture, damage to the insulation itself from it becoming wet, and structural damage such as wet ceiling tiles underneath condensating pipes. And of course, wet fiberglass does not deliver the same thermal performance. There are two primary considerations for preventing condensation. The first is ensuring you have the right insulation thickness to prevent condensation. The goal here is to ensure that there's enough insulation to keep the surface temperature of the insulation above the dew point. There's a number of factors that go into that, such as air temperature and humidity, as well as wind, or whether the application is outdoor or indoor. We'll discuss a tool that helps determine insulation thickness later on. The second factor is making sure the system is fully and tightly sealed. Just like the way heat travels, moisture wants to travel from the high point of concentration to the low point of concentration. So you want to make sure you account for that by creating a barrier. And that would include vapor barrier jackets with low permeability ratings, like ASJ, FSK, and PVC, as well as mastic. Perm rating is how a vapor barrier is evaluated. Typically, you want a value of less than 1, so it's worth noting that our ASJ and FSK perm ratings are 0.02. Additionally, if the system is in a high abuse area, a rigid jacketing like PVC or metal jacketing would help ensure the system is not damaged and therefore potentially compromised. Again, mastics with low perm ratings also function as vapor retarders and aid in sealing the system. Going back to the topic of design considerations, I want to discuss a tool that helps with determining appropriate insulation thickness. That is the NEMA 3E Plus program, and it has a lot of interesting features. Not only does it provide insulation thickness recommendations for condensation control, but it can also calculate heat loss and gain and provide calculations for thickness based on personnel protection. This would, for instance, make sure the surface of the insulation stays within a safe range. And also, this tool has some great features that could provide a building owner an idea of their energy savings or carbon emission reduction by using various insulation options. And now I'll hand it back to Kim to take us through a few additional resources JM makes available.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Meredith. So if you're looking for more information on this topic or other educational resources, I'd like to tell you a little bit about an online resource we have called The Source. Now, The Source is where we host all of our recorded webinars, like the one you've attended today. You can watch these on demand or share them with colleagues who you think might find the information useful. It also hosts our blog, and this is where we post information written by our experts here at JM. We also curate content throughout the industry. And we also have a specifications tab. Now, this is great if you're looking for a side-by-side product comparison that compares all of our products and their specifications and performance features, so you can actually see the difference between the products in one easy graph. And then finally, as Meredith mentioned, the tools. And in the tools section, she talked about 3E+. JM has a unique version of the NEMA 3E+ tool. And this version actually has specification information about JM-specific products. So let's say you know, for example, that you want to use Microlock HP, but you're not sure what thickness you need. You could download this tool from our website on the source under the Tools tab, and it will tell you exactly what thickness you need of JM microlock pipe insulation for your unique application requirements. You'll also find tools like our Smart Binder app. This is where it's an app you can download to your phone or your computer or iPad, even tablet. And it has all of our technical documentation like our data sheets and SDSs, and this is to give you fast, easy access to that right at your fingertips, even if you don't have access to the internet. So you can find a link directly to the source on the HVAC, mechanical, and industrial pages of the JM website, and we will post a recording of today's webinar on the source in the next couple of days, and when it's live, we'll send you an email link so that you can actually, with direct access to that, and you can share it with colleagues if you'd like. And then on top of that, we have an Engineer Advisory Council. Now, this is an in-person event that you can attend. It's for engineers specifically, and it allows JM to basically get a pulse on how engineers are interacting with our products, and it's a discussion about how we can do a better job at JM helping the engineering community address their hot-button issues. So they're free to attend, and you can get a certificate of completion for participating. So if that's something you're interested in attending, you can let us know in the follow-up survey. Just there'll be a question in there, and we'll reach out to you directly when it's time for our next EAC. Speaking of certificates of completion, everybody who attended today will get one. It'll be in your email by Friday. And with that, we've had a lot of questions come through. Some of them were answered ahead of asked before the webinar started, and others were asked during the presentation. So we're just going to go ahead and kick it off. Joining us for our Q&A is one of our senior technical specialists, John Elvram, who's been at JM for a number of years. So some of the more technically robust questions are going to ping off of him. So we'll go ahead and get started. The first question is for you, Paul, and that is, does JM offer preformed and or prefabricated fiberglass fittings as opposed to field fabricating miters to match existing pipe insulation?
Thanks, Kim. To address that, JM doesn't offer pipe section, or we offer pipe sections, but we don't offer any prefabricated fittings for use at the elbows. The most common solution I see would be to utilize JM's Zeston PVC fittings stuffed with insulation inserts.
Excellent, thank you. Next question is for you, Meredith, and that is, I'd like to see a chart or formula that would demonstrate the temperature drop across duct insulation. We're having terrible condensation problems and need to quantify solutions. What would you recommend?
So that's a great question, and we didn't necessarily cover all of our duct insulation options today. We actually have an upcoming webinar on December 18th that will cover the HVAC products in more detail. But two things that you'll need to consider is the insulation thickness that you're using and whether or not the vapor barrier is intact. Those two pieces are critical for preventing condensation, and the NEMA 3E Plus tool that we mentioned earlier would be another great reference for assisting with that issue.
Excellent. The next question is also for you, Meredith, and that is, when should I use flexible elastomeric insulation versus fiberglass?
So it will depend on the application. If you are insulating sections of pipe that are curvy, you will need a flexible insulation, as our fiberglass pipe sections are rigid and are intended for straight runs. Two other considerations are whether you need 2550 flame smoke rating. So a lot of elastomeric foams do not achieve the 2550 rating at above 2-inch wall thickness. And then another consideration would be cost. Typically, elastomeric foams are more expensive as you get into higher thicknesses relative to fiberglass pipe.
Great, thank you. Paul, the next question is for you, and that is, what insulation do you recommend and covering for exterior ductwork in northern Minnesota?
Okay, so if Minnesota's adopted the 2015 IECC code, they'd have an R12 requirement that would apply to exterior and unconditioned spaces. To answer the question, I would suggest either the Expect Pali ISO Foamboard or any of our spin glass boards would satisfy the requirements for an exterior duct.
Excellent, thank you. Meredith, the next question is for you, and it is, I'm aware of the recommendation not to field paint the jacketing. Can you discuss the jacketing colors? I know you touched on that, but maybe just highlight once more.
Sure, yeah. So our pipe insulation, again, is offered with two different types of jacketing. There's the ASJ, and then there's the Ultra, which just features a polypropylene coating. So those are both white. In order to achieve a different color, I would recommend using our PVC jacketing over top. And again, we've got 13 color options outside of the white in order to achieve the color that you would like.
Excellent. John Elverum, the next question is for you, and that is, does the Pali ISO board product require the use of high-density inserts at duct or pipe supports? And then what pipe support methods are being used to interface chilled water piping and exterior ductwork with support while maintaining a vapor barrier? That might be two different questions.
For the first question, I would recommend, the Expect board has good enough compressive resistance, so for most applications, it wouldn't need any other rigid support for the installation. For the second question, I was picturing how that might be done, and usually the pipe work and the ductwork is installed by different trades at different times. So if they're going to be supported by something common, it would be either trapeze supports or angle iron.
Excellent, thank you. Meredith, the next one I think is for you, but you might defer to John on this one, and that is, does Expect board keep its R12 rating over time? I've heard that Pali ISO can lose R value over time.
Oh, interesting. So, John, I'd love for you to chime in on this one. I am not aware of anything that we know with our product deteriorating in terms of R value. Of course, you would want to make sure that you're properly installing it with a weather barrier jacket. That would be a consideration to ensure that you're protecting the longevity of the installation.
I agree, Meredith, and I think with the foil facers, any change in R value because of the gas that it's originally foamed with would be very slow over time, so not much in the way of diminishing R value over time for the long-term thermal resistance.
All right, the next question again is for you, Meredith, and that is, how come HP plain does not meet the green guard like the HP jacketed products?
So when you install the pipe sections with the jacketing, because those sections are sealed, it meets the requirements for Green Guard Gold, and when that pipe section is left exposed without any jacketing on it, it would not meet the certification.
Excellent. Paul, I'm going to defer this one to you, and that is, what pipe insulation can be used outdoors?
For pipe insulation, you'd recommend that you could use microlock for that, but you would have to use some kind of jacketing over the top of the microlock in any kind of scenario where you would be outdoors.
All right, excellent. The next question is, Paul, I'll actually send this one to you again, and that is, in the R12 portfolio for Microlite, is the R12 out of package or installed? And do you advocate full thickness completely around a duct to maintain the R value?
The Microlite comes out of the package at an R15. So the R12 is actually an installed rating, and that assumes a 25% compression. So as long as you have a compression that's less than 25%, you'll be okay as far as maintaining that R12. That's the only problem you'd really run into, is if you overcompress the insulation, and in those kind of circumstances, you may get less than the R12. But it's an R15 out of the package, R12 installed.
Sure, at 25% compression. So the next one, John, is, I'm going to go ahead and ask you this one, and that is, when we talked about the microlock pipe installation, in the top right photo, we showed a section of pipe that had been cut or filleted. This would, in theory, reduce the R value at that specific area and could lead to additional heat loss or condensation. How would we address that, and do we recommend full thickness everywhere across the entire pipe system?
When possible, it would be with the full thickness. For that particular slide, we were showing how it would be filleted, and that might be where you would install the pipe insulation at a support where in order to prevent the pipe insulation from being crushed, we would insert a different type of material with higher compressive resistance, like foam glass or something like calcium silicate, or even a polymer foam material.
Excellent, thank you. John, I'm going to ask this one to you again, or as well, I guess, and that is, what is your recommendation for recycling FSK or ASJ facings? Do we have any recommendations on that?
Unfortunately, we don't have a program right now for being able to recycle those. Instead, on the job site, they would be designated as construction debris and go to the landfill.
Okay. Meredith, I'll ask this to you. It might actually need to go to John, though, and that is, does K-value vary on servicing temperature?
On servicing temperature. So when we talk about K-value, we're typically referring to what type of insulation and what thickness of insulation you would use. So the thermal performance of the insulation would be what you would be looking at there. And then, John, I don't know if you have any additional thoughts on that.
Yes, Meredith. Depending on the service temperature, so chilled water compared to steam, high pressure steam, your K-value will vary based on the mean temperature that the insulation is exposed to. And with increasing temperatures, you lose some of that thermal resistance performance because of that changing K-value.
Excellent, thank you. Paul, this next one is for you, and that is fiberglass insulation formaldehyde free?
In some cases, some of our products are formaldehyde free. We do have some products that do contain a small amount of formaldehyde. So it would really be a case-by-case basis depending upon which product it is.
Excellent, thank you. John, can you define K-value for us?
The short definition is its thermal conductivity, and it's a measurement of the heat flow that's going through 1 inch of insulation that's 1 square foot in area, and it's enough heat to raise the temperature 1 degree Fahrenheit.
Okay. John, do you know what the, in the event, I know Paul had mentioned you have XSpec that does not meet 2550, and so one of the questions we got in was, if XSpec were to be in a fire, what are the gas or gases that would actually be burning? Do you know what the product would be burning in the case of a fire for XSpec?
It would be like an organic material, so there's a lot of possible byproducts that might come off, various hydrocarbons, and they can range from carbon monoxide to aldehydes. There would be a variety of things based on the burning conditions. I don't know that we've studied it. If it's burning, get out of the way.
That's great advice. So our final question, I'm gonna send this one over to you again, John, and that is, with an outdoor application, is the pipe wrap compatible with heat tracing with a heat tracing pipe warming system?
Absolutely. The Microlock HP can be used with heat trace, either a wrap or a wire type heat tracing.
All right, excellent. Well, that wraps us up for our questions for today. There were a couple questions that were submitted that we ahead of time that we didn't get to. We will address those offline, and any questions that we didn't ask today in the presentation, we will also address offline. You will have your certificate of completion in your inbox by Friday. John, Paul, and Meredith, thank you so much for your time, and everybody who attended, thank you for joining us, and we hope you have a great week and happy holidays.